Hello again. It's been a few months since I got into painting Warhammer here in Japan, but now that it's time for me to return home, I've needed to figure out how to bring all my painting stuff with me. My main fear is, of course, that my minis will get damaged on the flight, so to counter that, I'm using this. All it is a metal cookie tin that I bought from the department store. You see, I had magnets glued to the bases of all my minis back when I was painting them to make them easier to hold. So now the plan is to stick them to the inside of this cookie tin to keep them safe on the flight. And it looks like it should work. Let's get right to packing them in. It's looking pretty good, and they don't appear to be shifting at all when I turn the box. So let's deal with our next problem now, being what to do with all my paint. I've managed to amass a ridiculous amount of paint in my time here, but I've cut back to only what I think I can take on the plane. That means aerosols and solvent-based paints and adhesives are out. In the end, I'm left with this mound of colours, which I'm going to pack into this Ziploc bag, and then again in this bubble wrap packet. Before I started shoveling these into the bag like a caveman, I went through and cleaned the lids of each paint pot of any dried paint using a hobby knife to ensure that they all closed properly. I then shut the bag, eliminating as much air as possible, then it went straight in the bubble wrap. Next, I just need to pack them away tightly and hope for the best. Since there's so much empty space in the box, I've decided to pack it in with some clothes so that in the off chance that a mini comes loose, it doesn't end up bouncing around on the flight. I'll be missing this room, but with my suitcases all packed, it's time to say goodbye to Japan and hello to home. Now I've got some work to do setting up my painting desk, but before all that, we need to see if everything survived the flight. First up is the paint, which appears to have made it without a single pot leaking or exploding on the way. With the paint set up, I throw down my texture palette and cutting mat, and it's finally time to see if my minis survived the journey. I open up the suitcase and carefully remove the box. I give it a gentle test shake and can't hear any loose parts inside. So I set it down on the desk, and it's time for the moment of truth. Oh no! It appears that my biggest model, the Broadside battlesuit, has come loose from its base in transit, but thankfully the model itself seems to be completely intact. I set it aside for the time being and check on the rest of the minis. So far they seem to be okay. Here I check on the Broadside's base, and it looks to be unharmed. The bare patches are where the feet used to be, so I should be able to glue it back in place. Getting back to the smaller minis, it looks like aside from the Broadside, which must have been a little too heavy for the adhesive to hold, they all survived completely unscathed. All that's left now is to fix the big guy. But before that, I need to finish setting up my table. First, I get rid of this dinky little tripod. Then, I install a camera arm that won't get in the way all the time. Next, we just set up some lighting and clear some space. And so now with my desk set up, we can reattach the Broadside suit to its base. For this, I'm going to use this half-empty tube of plastic glue that by some witchcraft hasn't gone hard in the year that I was in Japan. The glue works in two parts. First, I prime the surfaces I want to glue with the felt tip of the primer pen. Then I just apply the plastic glue and hold the parts together. The reason I'm using a 2-part adhesive for this job is because there's only a very small surface area of contact between the feet of the model and the base. As such, I want the bond to be as strong as possible to keep it from breaking again. Having let it set for a while, I can now move it off to the side with the other models. It's been a long time coming, but with my painting setup back up and running, there's heaps more in the pipeline. Let me know what you think down below, and subscribe if you like what I do. Until next time.